Welcome to Divorce 101. The first thing that anybody going through divorce should know is the basics of how we divorce in Mississippi. There are two basic ways to divorce in Mississippi. The first is the traditional method, which we call by fault grounds. These fault grounds are simply described as adultery, cruelty, drunkenness, habitual use of drugs, or desertion. If someone has proof of one of these fault grounds, they can force a divorce. The second method for divorcing is by what we call irreconcilable differences. If both parties to a divorce agree to a divorce and to every single element of child custody, visitation, support, property settlement, and alimony, then they can divorce by agreement. They are allowed to divorce 60 days after the filing of a complaint for divorce. The key to the irreconcilable differences divorce process is that it requires agreement. This is different from many other states which have something called no-fault divorce. Mississippi is not a no-fault state. In no-fault states, people may divorce simply because they want a divorce. This allows a person to obtain a divorce whether or not the other party agrees and whether or not the other party is guilty of any fault. In Mississippi, this leads to some difficulty in negotiation and perhaps some hardship. If a person is in what might be called a bad marriage, but the person does not have sufficient proof to obtain a divorce on a ground such as cruelty or adultery, then that person can be held in the marriage by the other person if they don't want a divorce or if they simply want to make it difficult on the other person. This has been described by one Supreme Court justice as divorce blackmail. It's called blackmail because it puts the person who is not particularly interested in a divorce in a position of blackmailing the other person into giving them a more favorable settlement than they would ever have to if they divorced through the court system or through the normal means. So the basics of divorce in Mississippi are that Mississippi is not a no-fault state. You must either have fault grounds or you must have an agreement by both parties to obtain a divorce and on how to split everything up and how to handle the custody. These are extremely important points as any person embarks upon the divorce process and contemplates negotiation with the other party.